Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is December the 3rd, 2023 on the ancient moon calendar, 2024 on the ancient sun calendar. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity. And according to the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this Holy Congress, this is a sovereign living ancient, Article 3, Moorish American, Al-Moroccan, Universal Court Action. We are the sovereign living justices, and Egosum, Pauline Denise Ritchie. My free chosen sovereign appellation is Light Tajiri Bay. All are in Capitis Diminution Nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capite et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the lawful and legal natural head and body for our empire. All Moors are the original indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Israelites, Hamathites, Cushites, and Hittites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural divine, sovereign, ancient, Islamic, Muslim, Empire State for Morocco. We're the de jure and at fact Moorish National Republic federal government. We're ancient Washington, District 4, Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the earth-wide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. Today, we are exercising the law by our sovereign status, which is the original indigenous, natural divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3, living United States District 4 Columbia Court, and we are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, trustees. We're the divine ministers, possessors, titled beneficiaries, and titled trustors for all causes for action. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our sovereign divine ascension. We do hereby possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. We, the true living God nation, are not at war, and we hereby exercise all eternal, ancient, original sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, non-pro-tunc. The principles and the laws that we share are not our opinion. They're not just our opinion. We have removed all dead actors from our minds, thereby freeing ourselves from presumed foreign bondage and presumed enacted psychological operations. Along with our sovereign, powerful demonstrations and study, these laws and processes that we share are based on principles of stare decisis, res judicata, an ancient, positive, supreme law for the land, long established in sovereign order. Erudite principles and processes for daily practical application to intelligently govern our vast estate. Every day is what our ancient ancestors have given us to share with the ancient sovereign nations, tribes, clans, states, and governments at earth. And for this, we are grateful. Islam. So we have just a quick couple of a little bit of word magic, because we know that everything is in the power and the authority is in our word. So I'm going to open the meeting, open the table rather, and also lock the meeting so that we can discuss what's on the screen. Just one moment. Islam. So sometimes when we ask questions, the questions seem like they're simplistic in nature, but not really. The simple things were used to confound the wise. That's in the ancient writings. And so we want to ask the question, what does the word ma mean? M-A. What have we known that word to mean? And anyone, you can start
Islam.
Islam.
I understood the word to mean mother.
Islam, indeed. And some Empress Camille, but thank you so much, nobility. Yes, we've known that word to mean mother. Now let us ask again another part of this question, because we're going somewhere. That word means mother, and ma is also short for Mahdi. When I was growing up, and many of us have had this experience, my mother and my grandmother called each other Mati or Mahdi, which was, they said it was short for mother dear, but it really meant Mahdi. It is in honor, giving honor to the matriarch. Master astrologer, yes, indeed.
Hey, Spike, you look like a fucking homeless bum.
Alchemist. Master alchemist. Master ab original. And those words are separate. We want to ask another question. What does mas mean in Spanish, or they say Espanol? In Spanish, what does the word ma mean? Islam.
Nice gold hefty bag you got on tonight, Pauline.
Go ahead, Empress.
It actually means mas, as in more.
Yes. Yes. And how we spell more makes all the difference in the world. They both mean the same thing. More, M-O-R-E, and more, M-O-O-R, mean the same thing. They mean an increase, an abundance, more. More of whatever energy we put out, that is what will be produced. More, más. And in go ahead, Empress.
No, I was sorry. I was just repeating. That's on mas. I was just saying it again. Yeah,
yes.
And when you're more to something, you're actually attaching to, which is an addition. You're increasing.
Come on, brilliance. Yes, pure brilliance. Yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. Islam nobility.
Please let Empress in, please.
Islam.
Thank you.
Islam. Now, the point of this, we want to, because see, everything was ours originally. Everything that you see out there was ours. Everything had been copied, bastardized. There was attempted subrogation, attempted, just attempts at theft. Now, the theft never really happened, but there were attempts at that. So where are we going with this?
That First Avenue building is...
Let's talk about the word Christ in Spanish. It's Cristo, or Christ. So when you put those words together, here's what you have. When they're put together properly, it is Cristo Ma, or Christ Mother. It is Cristo Mas, or Christ Moors.
That Land Rover was never yours, was it, Pauline? That Land Rover was...
So this was the original meaning for December 21st, the winter solstice. It was the celebration.
Where's that free cell phone you were supposed to get, Paul?
Of the Christ Mother and the Christ Moors. That is what Christmas was originally all about. It was to celebrate the mother and the Moors. But then whenever you're looking at, we're not looking in the funny mirror anymore. That thing is gone. Now we're looking at what the subjects do. The subjects celebrate the son. The son, S-O-N and S-U-N, which is the mother's son, the May son, the Ma son. That is why the colors were green and red. Ma, Mayat. Yes, just as Harold put it in the chat. Mayat, goddess and the personification of truth, cosmic balance, and justice. So we need not be scared, afraid, or leery to celebrate Mother and Moors. We need not be leery to celebrate ourselves. It's the way we do it that matters. When we're using proper money, gold, silver, frankincense, myrrh. Myrrh was a gift that the wise men brought to the Christ. They brought myrrh. That's more for those who know that, and we all know this, that vowels are interchangeable in Latin and in ancient English. So with that being stated, now we approach December 21st through December 25th with a new mind, a new mindset. Our minds are transformed regarding the information and why it was the way it was in the last era. And now what we're doing is putting everything back in the proper place. It's already there. And celebrating properly. What does that mean? That means not the use of fiat. See, the subrogation, the attempted or enacted subrogation of Christmas, that means the trickery of it, was used to spread the fiat. That's what it was used to do, spread the fiat. And so in spreading the fiat, there was an attempt at subrogating that particular celebration, and then making it so that we look at that and say, nope, we're not going to celebrate that at all, when really it was for us in the first place. So what do we call it? We don't see, the reason they said Merry Christmas was Mary was the mother of Yeshua. That's why it was called Merry Christmas. So it is important that as we state the things that we're stating and continue to put things on the public record, that we know why we're doing what we're doing. They said in the last era they were celebrating the birth of the Savior. Our sons were their Savior. Our sons were the Savior. Yaqub was a son of ours who created them. And when I say them, I mean our beautiful subjects whom we love. We're not talking about the dead. We're not talking about corpses. We're not talking about colonial commercial mercenaries. We're just talking about, we're speaking truth. about what's really happening on the land. See, on the land, mother is celebrated. All matriarchs, all matriarchs are celebrated. So with that being stated, just one moment. With that being stated, just a moment, because sometimes, just one moment, let me fix this part right here.
This is the real news. It's the more.
There it is. That's what we were looking for. So with that being stated, we should celebrate December 21st. It is the celebration of the mother and the Moors. With that being stated, are there any thoughts on that celebration? And it's up to us to decide how we celebrate that. What we know we don't do is throw around a bunch of fiat and do things the way that it was done in that last era, which was not proper. It was not done properly. That was not for us to do it that way. Yes, we celebrate our sons, but it's the living sons. And our sons look like us. So with that being stated, are there any questions, comments, or wisdom regarding that particular presentment?
Islam, Karima, at Virginia Republic. Yes, and please, this is a very timely discussion. Just last night while I was doing some meditation, I go on nature walks pretty much every day. And I was thinking about Christmas and what that means and how we celebrated that in the previous era. And actually, when I was growing up, my grandmother, she pretty much raised me, and we didn't celebrate Christmas at all. I won't go into why that is right now. The reason I'm stating this is because I was just thinking about it last night about how the Biblios Heliotext says something about Christmas being a pagan religion or something of that nature. I'm not sure the scripture and verse, but it says something to the effect of, why would you cut down a tree from the forest and bring it into your home and stencil it with gold and silver and everything of that nature? And I was thinking about it like, okay, then I must be a pagan because I love nature. And when I go on my nature walks, sometimes I will gather, branches or, sticks and things of that nature, and actually bring it into my home. So, I guess I am a pagan, Islam.
Empress, thank you for that presentment, because in the Biblios, what the verses that you're referring to are in the Old Testament.
Yes.
And those particular verses, you can go into another part of the Bible and find the exact opposite of that. The Biblios was written so that we could decide how we want to do things. So where it says, one thing, it will say the exact opposite someplace else, because it's actually up to us to decide how we do things. In a couple of places in the Bible, it says we are gods, and then in other places it will say it's a sin to consider yourself equal with God, which is actually true, because we have no equal. But the interpretation is up to us, because we are the Alpha and the Omega for our own, and the Z and all of that for our own lives. Who is it that would say that bringing nature into your home is a bad thing? somebody who doesn't want nature in their home. I don't know.
Someone who is not natural Islam.
Yes, indeed. We know that the biblios that we've been looking at was not. It was not. It's been rewritten the same way that we've rewritten everything back to its original state. There were some who came, and modern ones who came, and it was in their best interest to rewrite things, or else we would have never believed anything they said. So they had to rewrite it and make it seem like the things that we were doing were wrong. There's even scripture in the Bible that says that mother is God. But those were conveniently left out and skipped over. Islam, Empress.
Islam, I just wanted to add, pagan, it means of the country, of nature, of the earth. It's actually not, there's always that negative connotation, but it means of the living, of the original, of the real, of the earth. So.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Islam and observation?
Yes, Islam.
Thank you for bringing this up. And it just bears reminding, I know you've already stated it.
I hope Sasha tied them dogs up.
Go ahead, Nobility.
Again, this is a reminder that this is not about their pagan commercial. I'll put it that way. Their commercial anything. It's not about that. The winter solstice is part of our ancient science.
Yes.
That is one of the 4 cardinal points, okay, as you transition, because everything is broken into times and seasons, and that's scientific. This is a scientific, more science, winter solstice, zodiac.
Hey, Phoenix, when are you taking over that office building that you said?
Go ahead, Nobility.
All of this is interrelated, interconnected, and so it deserves our attention.
Where's that office building, Phoenix? You said you were going to take over an office.
Go ahead, Nobility. Keep going.
So that being the case, this is why we are making recognition of the solstice.
Yes.
Okay, that's a cardinal point and a cardinal time that's important to our science. Not about no religion, regardless of what we did in the previous mirror. Like the sister just mentioned, the Empress just mentioned, she didn't celebrate. I haven't celebrated, the festive things that go on around the 25th and that fake holiday since I was 5 years old. That was more than 55 years, 55 years ago, okay? 54 years ago, whatever it was, okay? So, and I don't miss it. I'm happy that I don't, because I don't get wrapped up in the nonsense. I don't get wrapped up in the deception and the fakery. Although there are some genuine emotions that can be shared with family, yes. But I can do that all year long. I don't have to wait till the end of the year to express that. Like Thanksgiving, I give Thanksgiving every day. Every day. I don't need a certain day set aside for that. Okay? By the commercial whims of the commercial system that was feeding on us. That's the point we got to remember. So as we embark on these days, let's go back to the science of why there is a solstice and understand how that applies in our lives and what we're doing and preparing to do for the new year that is now coming soon once we pass the solstice. Islam.
The reason that one of the many reasons that we're bringing this up also is because the system of circulation of money has changed, not changed, it's gone back to what it should be. And so we will to have as many holy days as possible to circulate out that which is real as possible. We will to have as many holidays and holy days as possible to celebrate. We have so much money between us all that we're just looking for reasons to share and to spend and to look and to go and to do in the right manner, of course. So with that being stated, just one moment. We are going to continue to put things, Islam.
I would like to say something before you transition, if you don't mind.
Sure, Islam.
Okay, great. Going back to having nature in your house, right now here in the forest, I'm witnessing, a barrage of cars going by, for the last few days with trees. And for me, it's a little disturbing because when they erect that tree in their home, they give thanks to the earth for that tree because they took a life, and just for a 2-week, thrill or a month. So it kind of hurts my heart to watch all these baby trees go out of here, and then I know at the first of the year they're all going to be in the trash. Okay, fine. So if it's going to be in the trash, well then maybe some type of fire to generate energy, but not just in the dump. So if all I'm asking is if anyone's going to have a tree, buy one. Take care of it. Put it in the ground, then watch it grow, every year with your family, and it's a symbol of your love and your togetherness and the strength and, and the symbol of the tree with the deep roots, taking in that sun. That's who we are, deep roots taking in that sun. So the only thing I'm asking, if we're going to celebrate, let's not buy a dead tree. Just buy something and learn to take care of it. All the information's online now. So anyway, it's just a request. And thanks for listening. Islam.
So if I may address that, we have the authority to remove anything from the trash and have it be used as mulch to grow and have it be repurposed to, again, add more life to our land. Those trees can be ground up into mulch and reused over and over and over.
Really? You can't even get cell phone service or a conveyance. And you think
And so it's that piece right there. We're having different ways to do things. We're definitely going to do things differently from what it was done in the last era. So those things, from start to finish, and that's what the ancestors are having us do right now, is to think things through from start to finish and then implement them, head first and then feet on the process. Yeah, Islamic.
Also, basically, when you erect a tree that has had his life taken, you're worshiping death. It no longer lives. And so that's just another disturbing piece to me. It's just my thing, but I just wanted to share that. Islam.
Yeah. Islam. So the way that we do it, because see, I hear what you're saying, Empress, and you're referring to the way they did it in the last era. The way we do it is the roots come with the tree. So the tree is still alive. And that's only if we choose to do it that way. Because see, what's to stop us from going to the tree instead of bringing the tree to us? We get to say. What's to stop us from gathering around the red maple trees or the green evergreens or whatever the case may be? We decorate the forest with snow glistening every year. And the trees just sparkle. The evergreens just love it. So we cannot lose. Death cannot it never could continue, except we say that this is the purpose of it.
Islam.
Islam, Empress.
I'd like to add another thing that I did when I see trees that may have been used is to repurpose them for incense. So you can make incense, and if you do any type of spiritual work, they actually can be used, especially pine, for protection. So maple as well.
Yes. And the thing for us with pine trees, you know, many of you know that we drink pine tree tea.
Yes.
We've been talking about that online for years now. And so we would definitely love the smell of the tree, and then that tree would also be used for tea. And it's so good, it's so crisp, it's so fresh, it's so light. It's pine tree tea is my favorite, especially when you mix it with whatever your favorite tea was before. Ginseng tea, black tea. Yeah. Yes, indeed. So, you know, there is a solution to everything that's going on from that last era. They're simple solutions at that. Simple solutions. Those solutions are not even, it doesn't even take much for us to think through them. Simple solutions that are life-giving, that can turn something that was previously negative, as it were, to positive. Very easy for us. We are the ultimate transmuters. We're the ultimate changers. Islam, Empress.
I wanted to add the culture here. Now, I don't know why I have an echo, but is when a baby is born, the umbilical cord is buried and a tree is planted on top of that cord.
Yes.
So here you're talking about Christmas, celebrating the mother, the son. Life comes in, and then a life is now added with the tree growing on top.
Yes.
So, and that was the culture up until women started having babies in the hospital.
Yeah.
That was the culture. So it was all about life.
Yes.
Turned on its head. When you mentioned the pine, turpentine is made from the pine tree. Yeah. Turpentine is a potent. We hear of it for painting and stuff like that, but it's a potent medicine.
Yes.
It kills anything and everything.
Yes.
I mean, negative that is out of balance within the body.
Yes.
I yield.
It is very alkaline. Pine is very alkaline. But anything in nature is
to make an ATM rejected your DeLorean quicker than you can.
Anything in nature is alkaline. All things that are natural are alkaline. And that was actually the duality from the last era, is that acid and all things acidic is what the last era, the actors are made of, or were made of. It's acidic. And that's why we know that we don't have DNA, we have ONA. DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. That's a little bit of animal husbandry. Animals are acidic. The gods are alkaline. And that's where when those two met and there was not equilibrium, that's where death came in at. There has to be. Islam, Empress.
Break up the word alkaline. Line.
Yes. It has the word align in it. It has ka, which means soul, which Empress Shasha, you told us about. It has al, which means God. Still.
Yeah. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, we must stop looking in the funny mirror about everything. Let me tell you this. If you see something and it's giving you the feeling of fear, if it causes you to fear or to dread or sadness or whatever the case may be, that means you're looking in the funny mirror about it. That means you're not seeing the reality. You're looking in the funny mirror about it. Because in the funny mirror, that's where all of those emotions are triggered. Even where death is concerned, it's not really. Death is a nanosecond. As soon as that happens, we open our eyes in another place, at another dimension. So we never die. And here's the thing about death too, Moors, and this is going to sound a little strange. So if you're not there yet, don't worry about it. We can actually revitalize these bodies so that they are here forever. And see, everybody knows that about us. They knew that about Henrietta Lacks. If you want to do a little study about Henrietta Lacks, that's where they got the supposed quote-unquote cure for cancer from. So her cells even today are still alive. And supposedly she died in the 1960s or early 70s.
Islam,
Empress.
Also, based on our study, when we astral travel or go through a deep meditational experience and elevate to other dimensions like the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, I know the dimensions are infinite, but when we elevate to that level based on our understanding, we actually do go through a type of death. Islam.
Yep, and all it is a transformation. It's a transition. It's a change. Our energy never dies. It just changes form. And that's by our choice. That's a choice. Think about this, and then we'll move on, because this is going to be a little bit over into the other sciences. But just think about this for a moment. Someone who has, let's say, supposedly died from an overdose, or more who has died from an overdose of something. They took in too much of something. What would it take to revitalize them? Just pull the blood out, clean it, put it back in, warm. Because nothing failed. They just had an over amount of something. Everybody knows this about us, Morris. They already know this about us. They know we live forever.
Islam, when you said that, it reminds me about dialysis.
That's all dialysis is.
Yes, Islam.
That's all it is. All the keys are right here in our faces. Someone who has a brain aneurysm, someone who has a heart, let's say they need a new heart. The only reason they would quote unquote need a new heart is because they've been eating acidic things that were overly acidic for a very long time. So what do? Reverse that. Do everything alkaline from that day forward. And it will reverse everything that was going on with them, and their heart will regenerate anew. It's the same way as it would be for people who want to lose weight. What do? Reverse what they've been doing, and guess what? Health returns. So everyone has known this about us, Morris. That's why when they look at our bodies, they marvel. They marvel at what we can do and what we cannot do, because there's nothing we can't do. See, they know that already. And there's no condition that can't be reversed. It's a matter of alkalinity. Islam, Empress.
The key is to stay out of their institution.
Yeah.
Change your life, lifestyle and stay out of those acidic institutions.
Yes.
Be your own.
And you know what else too? Yes. You know what else too? And that's why we love the sea salt. I know that's why the ancestors gave us that piece on how to go down the street and pull the water and boil it down and make sea salt.
Yep.
Because the sea salt, it alkalizes everything it comes in contact with.
Yep.
Everything, especially flesh or meat. So does wood ash. If you don't have access to sea salt, wood ash.
Yep.
Burn some wood and take those ashes and begin experimenting with them in one way or another. I had this eye here. I had a little injury that happened to this eye, and I put some sea salt in it. And I've been also doing sea water. Boil the water, put the sea salt that we make, our own sea salt that we make, and then use a dropper to drop it into the eye. And the eye has healed so well that it's just amazing. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Physician, heal thyself. Any injuries are going to produce a certain amount of acid, but listen to this. What color is the cell in your body that rushes to heal? What color is it?
That's the white.
White.
The white cell.
That's why we're called white people. That's why we're called white people. It's because of the color of the healing chromosome or cells.
Yeah.
And we have them, in other words, they already know what to do when there's an injury. They rush to that place and begin healing. They stop what they're doing otherwise, all their normal behaviors, and they rush to that place and heal. And the natural sea salts, those sea salts actually, it's like giving those white blood cells vitamins and cleaners and minerals that make them stronger instantly. It doesn't even take a day. It's instant.
That's why they use saline in the drip.
Yes. Now, Empress, you mentioned those institutions. They started switching it out, and it's not real saline.
Right. I know that. I know that from experience. Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. It is not.
We could literally, and they changed the name of it too. In all fairness, they stopped calling it Saline Solution and started calling it Hepta something.
Okay.
Hepta some other name.
Mm.
So the Saline Solution, we can make that at home. We can make that at home, either with wood ash and water, or we can make it with sea salt. Just one moment, Empress Sasha. One moment. I don't want to miss a word you're saying, so I wanted to unlock. Go ahead, Empress.
The other thing that would be an equivalent would be the coconut water.
Yes.
So it's all nature again, naturally.
Yes.
All there in nature from the earth. From
yes.
the sky. Yes.
Indeed.
Yes,
indeed. We have healing in our wings. It's all right here with us. All we would have had to do, and we've done it already, we state that for the record, is go back to Saline Solution. Just go back to Saline Solution. That alone is going to save so many lives and make so many of us healthier.
Exactly.
It makes us more alkaline. You can sprinkle salt on any meat, and it's going to freshen it.
That's why they use it as a preservative. That was...
Yes, that's a hint for us. So we just yes.
Before you move on, I saw this interesting article because you had mentioned about the minerals and things that are on the land.
Yes.
And I saw this interesting article today, and they talked about this Wall Street banker who bought a coal mine in Wyoming, for $2 million, but then they have uncovered the
rare earth minerals.
Yes. And I just wanted to mention, just in case anyone hadn't seen it today.
And they've estimated that the rare earth minerals are worth about something like 158 billion instead of the 2 million that they enacted buying it. Listen, you could go outside of wherever you are right now. You can go outside and there are rare earth minerals under your feet. You know, the media in the last era would have you think that there's only certain places that there are rare earth minerals. They're everywhere on the land. Everywhere. Why? Because we're everywhere on the land. Thank you, Empress Minerva, for that. She put a link in the chat regarding that particular, 37 billion worth of rare earth elements. That's only going to increase. Then they're going to be saying, oh, everywhere. Listen, in the Biblios it says, on this rock I will build my church, my ecclesia, my government, and the governments of hell will not prevail against it. Everywhere on this land is rare earth minerals. They would want to have you running to Wyoming to go and look and see when you left rare earth minerals where you were standing. So, you know, we hear that, we hear it, but we also know that we are the rare earth elements first and foremost. The word elements, that means the God mentality, the God mind. Element is the God mind. So with that being stated, we are not afraid to celebrate Mother, and we're not afraid to celebrate Moors using red and green like our flag. We just flip it and turn it the other way. And we do red trees with a green star, or however you choose, or go out onto the land. Go out onto the land and celebrate out there. Don't drag the tree back in if you don't feel like you want to do that. I have trees in my house already growing. There's a tree behind me that my consort has been growing for years now. You know, so we grow trees indoors as well. But everything was supposedly hypothecated, and this is the problem with the thinking about the last era. In some cases, and some Moors look at the last era and they don't want anything to do with anything from that last era. We get that. We were like that too. But now we have to look at what was done and turn it right side up. Right side up. And when you turn it right side up, everything is going to work out the way it should. The system is going to work right, which it's already doing. The holy days are going to work right because they're already working right, because they have the proper words around them and everything of that nature. I will say this for the record, we're actually actively making statements about ways to celebrate. Actively. Now, Empress Ciasia said something in the chat. Yes, we should plant a tree somewhere every year to celebrate. Yes. And this is what we talked about previously, because see, it's trees all around out there, but those are all male trees. So let us plant the female tree so that fruits and vegetables grow everywhere on our land. Trees that bear fruit. So that no matter where you go, there's food everywhere, and it's natural. It's coming from the earth, from Mother Earth. That's why they call Earth Mother Earth. And they called Earth Mother Earth because, first and foremost, she bears fruit, bears life, water, fruit, air, fire, all the elements. And also first, because the earth does belong to Mother and all of Mother's sons. With that being stated, I had not intended on staying that long on that particular part right there. But which came first, the chicken or the egg? The answer is Mother Isis, the Moorish scientist, came first. That's the answer to that question. So for those who ever wanted to know which came first, the chicken or the egg, Mother came first. And she created the chicken, and the chicken created the egg because Mother designed the chicken that way. A video affirming the Great Awakening at all levels. I'm going to put this in the chat. And just when you have some time, if you are led to watch this video, it features one of our heirs. He is called the Wall Street Trapper. And he's talking about, in the video, different things about his mindset, which is a brilliant mindset. It's just he needs the right money system in order for his mindset to work. And he has that already because we have it. But in the video, he and another someone from India, an Indian from India, is speaking, and wearing beautiful headdress and things of that nature in the video also. And the thing that I appreciate about this particular video is it's talking about the money system, and something in me came even more alive when I heard Wall Street Trapper say something about, this is what he said, because again, we were taught, or not taught, we weren't taught. When we woke up, many of us wanted to get rid of anything that had to do with the last era. But those are when turned right side up, the things from the last era are actually what they should be. The last era was the opposite. Opposite meaning the antiposition. Okay. So what he said in the video, and some may not like this, and that's okay, because we make our own clothes, and all names and clothes belong to us, and all resources are ours. But he said in the video that he said and he was just talking about him and his boys and the people in the hood and everywhere really. He said, we're going to wear the Fendi and stuff anyway, but why not own it? And when he said own it, he was talking about the stock market and stocks and things of that nature. Wall Street Trapper did, of course, he was so awake to the money game that they had to throw him in jail for a little while. You know that. So that he could sit and just think about the money game and get things put in the proper perspective, because that's really what those demonstrations are about. POW demonstrations are actually power demonstrations, where when we take our feelings out of it and look at it for what it really is, the ancestors will really speak to us through those demonstrations. And he says in the video about how that was the best thing to happen to him, because it gave him time to study the stock market, to study the things that he knows now, and things of that nature. So yes, we want the finest things, not want. We will to have the finest things because we already do. All of it belongs to us already. It's just the way that it's presented. We're not going to be buying it, quote unquote, using someone else's system and getting things from some foreign entity. Everything comes from us. And so he made some great, just one moment. I didn't put that link in the chat right there. Yes, I'm going to throw you out. Just one moment. Oh, there you are. I'm going to put the link in there that I stated that I was going to put in there. Okay, so the last link that's in the chat is the link. So with that being stated, word magic. These words, borrowers and followers, really quickly. Borrowers and followers. What does the scripture say about borrowers? And what do these words really mean etymologically? Etymologically, these two words mean the following. That's what they mean. Borrowers and followers. Those who owe. Those who owe. Borrowers and followers. So again, we're always watching etymologically to stay in our proper place. Now, let's say this about borrowers. Our all caps can borrow from our in captis diminutio minima. And our in capitis diminutio minima, which is the first letter capitalized and the rest of the letters lowercase in the name, our in capitis diminutio minima can borrow from the in capitis diminutio nolo, from God. And so can they follow and not be in harm's way. As long as it's within the same lineage and nature, then there's no harm to the action. No foreigners or third-party interlopers in the process. Speaking of borrowers, here is something that we saw in the scripture, and it's just Proverbs, the 22nd chapter, verse 7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant or slave to the lender. Now, some people say slavery is bad. It is bad when there's a foreigner or third-party interloper. Slavery is bad, period. But a servant is worthy of their hire. What am I saying? All I'm saying is Pauline Denise Ritchie in all capital letters is indeed a servant to Pauline Denise Ritchie in capitis diminutio minima. Pauline Denise Ritchie in capitis diminutio minima, which is the first letter capitalized and the rest of the letters lowercase, is indeed the people who serves God, which is Pauline Denise Ritchie in all lowercase letters. When there's foreigners and third-party interlopers involved in that who are not in their proper status, then you have this type of a situation. The borrower is slave to a lender. There's a huge difference between a slave and a servant. A slave is involuntary, either by ignorance, which is still ignorance of the law is no excuse. That's why slavery existed. This is in the Biblios. And then look here at the bottom. It says, rich people have authority over poor people. People who borrow money have to serve those who lend it to them. It's in the Biblios. And the Biblios is an enactment of the ancient writings. This explains the last era, and it also explains this era. Nothing's changed, but everything has changed. Everything has changed for us. Am I saying that we are slave owners and slave holders? Nope. Not saying that. Chapter 29 of the Circle 7, magistrate and subject. That's what we're stating. So we can't be mad at the last era, Morris, because this era, the shoe was on the other foot. That's all we're stating. And this era is a far more honorable era. This is how you know that the Biblios was hypothecated. In the last era, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5 reads as follows: Slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. That would actually make your earthly masters your Christ. Colossians 3:22. Now, again, we're not saying that we agree with everything that's in the hypothecated. In fact, we're saying the opposite. We don't agree with everything in it. We agree with what we state and what we write. Colossians 3:22. Slaves, obey your earthly masters in everything, and do it not only when their eye is on you or to curry their favor, but with sincerity of heart and reverence for the Lord. 1 Peter 2:18, slaves, in reverent fear of God, submit yourselves to your masters, not only to those who are good and considerate, but also submit yourself to those who are harsh. Did any of you hear this in church? Because I didn't hear it in church. And I was in church in that last enactment.
Yes, Islam.
You heard it in church?
All the time, because it was used. This is the key. Remember, being formerly in the ministry, I was the one actually sharing this with the congregation. And it was used as a means of making sure people stayed in their subject status.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although I did not know that's what I was doing, as my eyes awakened, I understood later that's what I had done. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what all of ministry had been doing.
Yeah.
They use it to remind you to be obedient to the laws of the land, which are not laws, and you were supposed to be the law. You were supposed to be stated.
Yeah.
Don't get out of line. Don't get out of your subject status. Pay all your taxes, which are dues that is being funneled, as we all know, all over the place, and had nothing to do with the Constitution, nothing lawful. It was all that criminal cabal organization that they set up. Yeah. And so all the religious organizations, if you recall, from the Treaty of Paris, and I forget the other one, Treaty of Versailles, I think it is, they specifically stated that recognizing, and I'm slightly quoting, paraphrasing, recognizing that religion is a powerful tool to keep the subjects in line, basically. You will use that, we will use every bit of that to control the masses.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
The secret Treaty of Verona.
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. So, yes, I use that scripture to remind everyone, pay your taxes, if you got child support, you got to pay that. Pay.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you owe.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's focus on the Proverbs, don't ever go into debt.
Yeah.
Because we're living in a debt system, so that was a non-starter. If you can stay out of debt, great. But if you got to go into it, go into it. Just you got to pay all your bills. It was frowned upon.
Talk about money?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
I mean, it was not always direct, but it was plain enough that you could read between the lines very easily because you don't even need reading glasses. It was in big letters, very easy to understand. A 5-year-old, 6-year-old understood what we were saying.
Yeah.
Islam.
Wow. And we can't even be mad at the church from the last era simply because they were only given half the story. When they say things like in the Biblios it says, if you give, it will be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall men give into your bosom. They're talking about the processes that we've been sharing. That's how you give, and it's given back to you. And men give into your bosom. But they didn't tell you that. They didn't say that.
No.
They never.
The other part of that, to keep people blind to what's going on, the church entity itself, although you can't find evidence it's a 501c3. Can't find that evidence. But it was started as a last resort in this particular denomination to capture all those that had not already been captured, kind of a free-for-all, but yet those that had a specific mindset of wanting the truth and just giving just enough to make them come in, but not see all of it. You're going to get 80% truth, but the 20%, how does it say? A little leaven.
Leaven is the whole lump.
It spoils the whole lump. So that 20% that they didn't tell you spoils everything else, all the 80% good. Okay?
Yes.
Same principles were applied there. So at running the organization or the church as a trust, and the congregation members are the trustees.
Wow.
And think about this. The trustees are not beneficiaries.
Wow.
Are they? In trust law, are the trustees typically the beneficiaries? Nope. There's 3 hats: the grantor, trustee, and the beneficiaries. And since you're not the beneficiary as a member of the church, guess what the church could not do for you? Reach in its pocket and do welfare and help you. So unless an individual member stepped up to the plate to help you and assist you, the congregation itself, no matter how much you done paid in tithes over the years, cannot help you. Because you're not the beneficiary. You're the trustee. Your job is to pay the doggone bills, whatever they are.
Wow.
Now, the reality is that's the way most churches are run. We just don't know it. We just didn't know it. We didn't see it. And I didn't find that out until I started my awakening process.
Wow.
Islam.
Wow. Amazing.
Thank you for sharing that information. It's really interesting to hear.
Yeah.
Islam. Have we leaned any of these churches? Anybody? Have anybody put a lien on any of these church people buildings?
We're not mad at the people. We don't lean the people. We lean that thing, that corpse. And then we don't just leave it leaned like that. We bond the 501c3 so that it does. Because, see, let me tell you what bonding is doing also. Bonding is making it so that our money can go circulate through that system.
Yep.
See, we're not mad at the churches. They're going to circulate more sovereign delarium and gold and silver. That's what they're going to circulate. Because I will say this about churches. There are a lot of Moors who went there for help, and they got help from a church in the last era in that enactment. So, everything is a resource for us. Everything, no matter what it is a resource for us. Everything.
And how much more assistance can they be providing to the people through the churches if we took the corporation veil off, as you just said,
yeah,
and we had delirium available? remembering that we have a reinsurer, deep pocket, as we talked about last week, of $666 trillion. There's no ministry that we cannot fulfill. None.
Truth. You know, Islam, Empress.
I was going to say, when I needed help in California, it was the Catholic Church that helped me, and I wasn't even a Catholic. So I was impressed with that.
Deep pocket, my dear. Deep pocket. Deep pocket.
Well, they actually got your name, and they went on in that, that they enacted going in the trust and pulling to help you.
Well, I'm grateful.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Well, and they are also modeling what we're doing, because as we continue to govern, there will be no one who cannot come. You don't have to be Islamic Muslim to get help from the government and from the temples and things. You don't have to be the original indigenous gods at earth. You can get help no matter who you are. So I just wanted to point these things out. And then lastly, with regard to the Biblios and the restating thereof, I found this very, very interesting. 1 Peter 2:13-21. Submit yourselves for the Lord's sake to every human authority, whether to the emperor as the supreme authority. So the Bible tells you that the emperor is the supreme authority, correct? It's right here. It says, or to governors, which is all Moors, who are sent by him to punish those who do wrong and to commend those who do right. For it is God's will that by doing good you should silence the ignorant talk of foolish people. Live as free people, but do not use your freedom as a cover-up for evil. Live as God's slaves. And again, they're talking to those who are to submit themselves. Show proper respect to everyone. Love the family of believers. Fear God. Honor the emperor. Fear God, but honor the emperor. Slaves, in reverent fear of God, submit yourselves to your masters, not only to those who are good and considerate, but also to those who are harsh. For it is commendable if someone bears up under the pain of unjust suffering because they are conscious of God. This is saying no matter how harsh the Lord's and God's are, just be quiet and take it. It says, but how is it to your credit if you receive a beating for doing wrong and endure it? But if you suffer for doing good and you endure it, this is commendable before God. To this you were called, because Christ suffered for you, leaving you an example that you should follow in his steps.
Islam is one of the primary scriptures we used.
Not knowing that we're the emperors and empresses and the supreme authority and the governors and the authorities and all of that, and the God too.
Correct. But this is one of the primary ones we used, but it was never revealed who was who in their proper status. Yeah. That's the key that was left off. That's why I said 80% truth, 20% left out. And that 20% made all the difference.
Yeah, it did. It did. It does. It did, and it does. I just found it, because see, all of my Christian upbringing was from my parents. So they didn't go to these scriptures right here. They only taught us to be victorious and things of that nature. They taught us the right side of the Bible, if you ask me. To always be the head and not the tail, and to be victorious. And then they modeled that for us. So with that being stated, I have one or two other presentments here. We were watching our Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey on House of Reawakening Minds. We're so grateful for them, Empress Dr. Nyala, Gilliam L., and our Grand Sheikh Tashriq Bey. The history of Yaqub, he showed this book here, The History of Yaqub, and I believe he wrote this book. Yaqub, Caucasus, Cushitis, Old Central Amexem, Old Central Africa, Olmec, Central America, Ancient Moabite Matriarchate is what it says here. That Yaqubian experiment, and here, let me clarify. The Yaqubian experiment was the reason for animal husbandry pretending to be a system for the heirs. Animal husbandry. The question that was asked during that presentment was, how do we fight? That was a question. Now, we know from our perspective, there is no fight. But Grand Sheikh's answer to that question, and again, we're writing things in ancient English. This is not misspelling. When we say answer like that, when we write like this, this is ancient English. We know how to spell. This proves we know how to spell. Grand Sheikh's answer was, the wisdom is the power. Those were his exact words. The wisdom is the power. And to me, that was a brilliant answer to that question of how do we fight? We don't have to fight. We're too smart for that.
Islam.
Could
you please let another Empress in, please?
Islam, indeed. Thank you. No.
Question concerning Yaqub. Have we determined
Islam?
How can we get a copy? Can we get a copy of that?
There is a website with Grand Sheikh Taj's books on it that if you go back and look at some of the older, actually probably like last month or the month before last, if you go back and look at House of Reawakening Minds videos, the website to get them will be scrolling along the bottom. It will say Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey and Empress Duraya Bey's books can be found on this website, and it will give the name of that website. If anyone has that, please let us know, because we'll put it up here on the screen so that people can get the books that our Grand Sheikh Taj has written, because they are textbooks for us. They are we learn from them. That is our curriculum.
Thank you.
Indeed, you're welcome, nobility. Islam Empress.
Just a small thing. You see that question, how do we fight? And you
yes.
In ancient English. Now the S
yes.
and the S were interchangeable in ancient English.
Yes.
How do we fight? How do we see the wisdom? I mean, so I just wanted to add that because that's what I was seeing.
Yes, you Empress, just more brilliance again. When you look at older versions of the Constitution, the F's will be S's and the S's will be F's in many cases.
Yes.
You know, and in Latin writings, it will be that way as well. And then sometimes the U will be a V and the V will be a U and so on and so forth. Yes.
Yeah. I just saw that and it just, because that's exactly it.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And the answer is the same. The wisdom is the power. So with that being stated, our subject matter, Noble Phoenix, you had something that you wanted to show. Let us do this one subject matter here, and then I will yield the floor so that you have it. But there's a perspective that I want us to see regarding all that we have done. Okay. So these are the questions, because this is important for us to see, to know, to feel, to absorb into our spirit. What have we accomplished with all the documents, the demonstrations, the work, the writing, the stating and statements, the restating of all documents? What was that all for? What is the difference between the previous era and this era for us, our heirs, and the whole earth? And why did the most ancient, most high, most powerful within us lead us to do these things? What were we doing? What were we doing? Can anyone answer that question? What were we doing with all of this?
Well, Islam.
Islam.
Yes. We were bringing down the false building. We were bringing down the screens, the seals, all of those things. And we were raising up what has always been our empire. And,
yes.
And we did it because we are God, and because everything that goes upside down must come back up.
Yeah.
Back up the sand, you know, where the sand, the time, what do you call that now? I don't see it, but when you turn the, I can't remember what it's called, but there's sand in it, and you turn it the other way, and the sand all comes back.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of it.
Hourglass.
Hourglass. Yeah. Thank you. So raising back up to our rightful, to the earth and people, ourselves and our subjects, the empire. So I yield.
Yeah. Islam,
Empress.
Empress Aisha. I'm sorry, Empress Taylor L. Moving into a new era of time.
Yes. Indeed. Yes. Islam. Okay. Anyone else? Islam.
Hold on. Islam.
Islam, Empress.
Reversion of estate.
Yes. Islam. There was a noble, I believe, who was going to say something as well.
Yes, that would be me. I was just going to say it was for the laying of the foundation for our ascension at the proper time. Everything happens at the proper time.
Yes.
So that's in harmony with what Sister Sasha was saying. It wasn't about their downfall, because that was inevitable the moment we stood up.
Yeah.
So we were doing all of those documents to set the foundation to build upon, so that we rose and stood firmly on solid ground. That's why we did all that in my worldview.
Indeed.
Islam
nobility.
Also, fulfillment of the prophecy.
Come on. Yes.
Islam.
Yes. Indeed. Anyone else?
Islam
nobility.
It also proved to ourselves our true identity by the work. Because this journey is not to the swift, for those who endure. To prove that we are the true heirs.
Yes.
Only the true heirs can do this work, the endurance of it. And many of us have been stripped of materialism and isms and schisms. That's what I think that I've gone through. Others on this have gone through before me, and they're going through it now. Endure the fire, because when we come out of the fire, we will prove that we are the true heirs on the land of the 144,000 Islam.
Yes, indeed. Islam Empress. There's another Empress that was saying something about. Go ahead, Empress.
Islam.
Empress Karima, if you could hold for just one moment, there's another Empress that's wanting to say something.
Islam.
I feel like Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, and in her time, she was saying, we are called to do this. You know, and I feel that way because I should have just given up, but I haven't. Even though my age, I'm in my 70s. I have no intention of giving up. I'm going to keep on. Islam.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you, Empress. You know what? 70 is so young comparison to how long our bodies last. You have plenty of time. Indeed. Islam. Empress Karima.
Islam. We did this because no one was able to do it but us. We were called. The information was presented. Our elders, they were not angry with them, but they were not able to receive the information, and it skipped a generation. And here we are, and we were able to receive the information and carry things through. Islam.
Yes, indeed. I affirm. Indeed. Yes. Anyone else? Indeed. And it was done by what? What we said, what we wrote, what we published, and the demonstrations that we did and are doing. That is how the foundation was laid. This part of the foundation. Our ancestors laid the original foundation. We're just building on what they did. That was done by all the documentation that we've placed on the public record. So let's think about that, what we've accomplished, because it really became super clear to me what we've accomplished when I watched the video that I gave you the link to. Because they're talking about a system. That system, everything became even clearer. It's always been clear in my spirit, but it became even clearer when I saw that video. In the previous era, and I could call it an era, enactment, we were trained to work in the system. From the time we could talk and write, we were being trained to work in the system. If you were a good worker in said system, you got some fiat to put back into the system to make the system perform for you in the manner that you were trained was good for you, such as you got to eat at a fine restaurant on a Saturday. You got to get your hair and nails done that month. Or your children got to have new clothes, new toys, and put a bigger offering in the church basket every once in a while to impress the preacher and all of that. Or because you were sincere about it. You got to brag or discuss about having a high credit score. You got to pay bills early. You got to buy a bigger house. You got to purchase a more expensive modern car that your friends and family and neighbors could look at. All of that is good because you thought it was good. And we're stating for the record, yes, that was great. Those were great motivators. As a man thinketh, so is he. As a matriarch thinketh, so is she. That made you feel good, and that energy was part of that system also, because the energy where when you saw the smiles on your heirs' faces because they had all these toys under the tree and all of that, when you saw the smiles, you thought, yes, this is what it's all about right here. Everybody sitting around the table eating and celebrating, you were like, yes, this is what it's all about. And that's true. Because that's what you're thinking and saying. And so that made you feel good, and that energy was a part of the energy mechanism attached to that system. So yes, the system was feeding off of that energy. And then what would we do? Do everything we could to recreate that energy and that feeling. Everything we could. And so that energy and that good feeling motivated you to repeat the process, which made it all worth it for you. And to me, that's a good system, except we didn't control that system. Why? Because we didn't control what made things circulate in the system. What is it? What's the one thing that made things circulate in that system besides us? What is the one thing you could pull out and people would start jumping and running and doing things?
Fiat.
Of course. Yes. Of course. And we didn't control that. But we do now. So that's why we're looking at all that was happening in the last era saying, oh, this is so sweet, the way this is set up. The system is set up for our benefit.
Your husband still pays fiat for your property taxes.
Absolutely set up for our benefit. But we must control the system, and we do. So those same persons, and this is, listen, the ones from the last era who spent their whole lives with that activity on repeat, because they were like, yes, let's make more money so we can see the children happy, so we can buy the car and buy the house and do all these things. Let's get ready to do it again. Many who spent their whole lives with that activity on repeat are poising themselves to do it again en masse. En masse. But in our new system. They're getting their gold and silver ready to use it in our new system, the system that we've placed here on the record. We have created that place where they can spend and use and all of that. Now, what are some of the questions you have about how we make this happen? Because, see, the ancestors have already given us the key. It's so very simple when you realize how simple it is for us to change that, because we've already done it. And to get everything circulating back in the right direction. That's the question, Empress Nevaeh. Yes, how will we circulate our money? That's the question we're asking you. That's good. Your question is, how will we circulate our money? That's so good. That's a great question.
Islam,
Justice Malik.
With each other.
Go ahead, Justice Travis.
With each other first, just like all the other communities do. They spend their money amongst themselves before it even leaves. Yeah. If we look back to old Tulsa, Oklahoma history, they circulate their money amongst themselves and they thrived. And that what brought upon the attack on them, because they was doing for self.
Yes.
Islam.
Justice Travis, I tell you what, that's brilliant, because we've already done that. From the moment we introduced Moorish Sovereign Dolarium, the Moors began circulating it among themselves. We began doing that. Every month we have received donations from the Moors that we take in and we put it where it needs to be. Every month from the very introduction of Moorish Sovereign Dolarium, the Moors have been circulating our own money. Every month, we've already done it. That's a wrap. We've been giving it back and forth to each other. Moors will come here and say, can I have this amount of dollarium for this? And then they've been bringing gold and silver as well to that. And again, those three work together. So we've already fulfilled the mandate of using our money among ourselves. That means...
And they can't even buy anything with it. You've not bought one fucking thing with it, Pauline.
Ooh, all that hate and jealousy. Ugh, that's some jealousy. We've proven that our money works among us. Yes, we've been circulating our money through liens, levies, and bonds also, because that's more
conveyance,
than gold and silver, and gold and silver too. Same thing. Same thing. How do we continue then to circulate our money? Our ancestors have already given us the keys to do that. The first way that we do it, and we've talked about this previously, but we'll continue to state how we circulate our money, because remember, gold and silver is our money too. More sovereign dollarium is the receipt for that, because you have to give a receipt. When someone gives gold and silver, you give them a receipt. Those receipts are also money. That's what more sovereign dollarium is. So when we're issuing things like licenses and notarizing documents, being the public notary, then we take from the public treasury, which is really the people. And that is how the exchange happens, because it's an exchange. It's not really a taking, it's an exchange. The people will bring the gold and the silver, and we give them more sovereign dollarium receipts. And we can give them a more sovereign dollarium as receipt, or we can give them a paper receipt that states what's been given. Whichever they prefer. Whichever they prefer. But preferably more sovereign dollarium as the receipt, and with the paper receipt. Just like at the grocery store, they sometimes give you a receipt and a survey, or a receipt and a questionnaire, or a receipt and a coupon. So that's how we circulate it, by doing our own works. Faith, which is money, which is the confidence in a money system. That's what faith is. It's confidence in a system. That's what faith is. Make no mistake about it. Faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. So faith with works is alive and living. So that's how we do it. We assist one another and assist anyone who needs assistance, because we can assist everyone. And make sure that you record that you assisted them. That's how you circulate your money. We have another way that the ancestors have given us, and we'll share that. We don't want to state it on the public record right now, but it's major. It's major, along with all that. Everything that we do is major. Everything that all of us do is major. So we'll be sharing more of that as it manifests. We're going to manifest it first and then share it. Like we normally do, we manifest things first and then share. The things that we put on the public record that we stated we were going to do, which was, we said we were going to print our own money. We said we were going to back our money with gold. We said we were going to do these things. We said that we were the Congress and we were the law. We were the government. We're all offices. We said all of that. Now we've done it. Everything we stated we were going to do, we have done. Head first. So with that being stated, we now control the system. There is no other. There's no other
shit.
system. We
You haven't gotten
control.
your phone service. You haven't got.
That was so distorted. That was distorted. I like to hear that distortedness because that tells me that they're getting even weaker and weaker. Those fake voices. They're getting very, very weak. And we're stronger and stronger and stronger every.
And you still don't have a conveyance. Or
stronger. Oh. Very weak. Very weak. Did you hear that? Did y'all hear that? It got even weaker that time. Why? Because we're stronger. Islam, Empress. Islam. So with that being stated, we control the system now. So we can fully participate in the system, fully participate in our system, and reap all the benefits on both ends from all positions in there. We get the benefit of everything that has to do with our system. That video about from Wall Street Trapper and I think his name is Jasmeet Singh. I can't remember what his name is. The one from India, the Indian from India, who spoke in the video also in the enactment. But it just made everything clear. We're going to have the best, be the best, do the best, produce the best. We might as well own it. And that's really, he just stated what we've already demonstrated. They both stated what we've already demonstrated. So with that being stated, we are part and parcel, and I can't even say part because we're the whole system. And that's, Moors, that word part, I don't know about anyone else, and we can't tell sovereigns what to do. We don't tell sovereigns what to do. We are going to say we're the whole system. We're the whole government. We're the whole wealth, the whole abundance. We're the whole earth, the whole Congress. We are the all. That's what all law is. Are there any questions, comments, or wisdom regarding what we stated here? Questions, comments, wisdom.
Islam.
So,
I don't mean to be like the buzzkill all the time, but
hold on just a moment. That whole buzzkill thing, Empress Sarai, you ask a lot of questions that are already answered in your spirit, but you're not listening to your spirit. Listen to your spirit. Your spirit has the answers already. But go ahead, Islam. We just wanted to state that first. We just wanted to perceive that the answer is within you. But go ahead. We would love to hear what you have to say.
So, just with my personal situation and the work that I have been doing, that started out with like activism prior to.
Empress, where are you? Go ahead.
I was muted, but prior, I don't know how much of that you heard.
Go ahead. We heard everything except maybe 2 words.
Oh, okay, so yeah, prior to the vehicular assault, state-sponsored or whatever, I came here on a mission to kind of change the face of the homeless outreach program, shelters, et cetera, that was happening here, because in comparison to where my second home, Minneapolis, I just noticed a lot of incomplete services, and I was younger then, so I didn't realize the commerce aspect of that. And so when I came here on that mission, I also came from a political science school that was kind of training us to be investigative journalists or whatever. So, you know, in my young, naive spirit, I thought I was going to come here and just change everything overnight. And, it, you know, I got a wake-up call. But what I was getting at is that for me, and now experiencing the gang stalking and just the severity of the church culture out here and, you know, the prevalence of it all and being able to recognize the mechanisms of how they are sorting and organizing these people to send out to, you know, continuously stalk and harass me. The church is a huge part of that. And it's like they even run around and kind of taunt. It's subliminal taunting and like indirect psychological and sometimes physical attacks. But their new favorite phrase is that I'm messing with the church's money, et cetera, to taunt me. But what I'm saying is that in healing from this this brain injury, I just am in a situation now where when I was, you know, fully capable and getting ready to go to school for all this other stuff, like I became a part of the outreach program that I was once a youth to, and then I saw a major political shift that happened here in which they kind of wanted me to be the buffer between the street kids and the corporation establishment. From there, I'm just realizing a bunch of different things that they put in my pathway to try to steer me one way or another into corporation to work for them. And I said no, like every time, down to mortgage lending, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But within these journeys, and then my accident happened, I worked for Free Speech TV for a while. We tried to blow the whistle on this crash that's coming now, like 20 years ago almost. And they gagged us and told us to pack up and go. But yeah, so with all that being said, I've been on both sides of the track, or very near, you know, to, you know, corporate success, et cetera, and all that other stuff. But I've been able to see these things in such a way that they're now, you know, I'm now kind of swamped in it, in this transition of trying to gain my independence back and, you know, enforce my rights. And
Empress, where are you?
Excuse me?
Empress, where are you?
Right here.
I said we couldn't hear you for just a moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so yeah,
so,
it's just.
So why do you think that you've been shown all of those things? Why do you think you've been shown all of that? What do you think is the purpose of you being shown the deficiencies in the system?
I still feel like it's my calling to have mended it, but where I messed up was I never took care of myself first. And now I'm at a point where the last place that I stayed before this one, it's a temporary housing situation, was a Catholic shelter. However, I was also still kind of seeing, because I was just now seeing just how blind I was, and I had many characters that I've known that were trying to warn me, but they couldn't within their oaths or whatever, and I just feel so guilty about it. But I went to kind of go, you know, close up those, tie up those loose ends and see what was I feeling, was it real? And it absolutely was. This last place that I was at was literally like so so psychologically shaking, like these characters are stuck in these looped scripts.
So so right. So what is it that is?
I'm surrounded like thousands by thousands deep, like of people.
So let me say this about what you're stating.
Yeah.
I'm not minimizing any of that. In fact, I'm doing the opposite. You're being shown things because you're the solution to those things. You know that already. Now, I'm just telling you things that you already know. However, whenever you focus more on those things than you do on being the solution, that's where a lot of chaos comes into the thinking and a lot of anxiety, chaos, and things of that nature. So our suggestion is, and this is just something to think about, what can you do each day What can you do? Not even what you see. What can you do to save yourself first? Because that's actually the only way that you can provide remedy for anyone else.
Pretty much what I have been doing is neurology every day, and then depending on that, if I'm not in a state of mind to retain and
that wasn't the question. Not what you can't do. The question is what you can do. Because see, a lot of times we focus on what we can't do, what we don't have, and those are paradigms anyway. That's not even true. A lot of times people will focus on, or from the last year, they were trained to focus on what they don't have and what they can't do and limitations. This is a new era. What can you do every day?
Respectfully, I understand that. Where I was going was, if I'm in a situation where heavy studying isn't it, I'll just, I sharpen my reactive senses and my processing by different levels of engagement, either online or in person, to kind of sharpen those skills. And if nothing else, then I sleep.
So those things are helping. Apparently they're helping. Are they helping?
Yes.
Okay, so there's growth. And here's the thing. Sometimes, rather than focusing on ourselves, we focus on assisting others. But that's only after we've saved ourselves. Save ourselves first, and then whatever we did to save ourselves, we share it with others. So what you're doing right there is the answer. The answer is what you just stated. You said, what did you say that you do every day? You said that you speak with others, right?
Yes.
And connect with others. And then when you're not doing that, you sleep. Okay, so that's the answer. Stay connected with others. That's first and foremost, because it's working for you. It's working for you. By your own admission, it's working for you. And then whenever those thoughts start to speed through your mind, because you're talking really quick, really fast, and when people talk really fast, that means they have a lot in their mind, a lot going on, a lot of thoughts going through there at one time. The sleep is to slow that process down so that you can analyze those thoughts even more, so that when you connect with people, that the connection is even more fruitful. Obviously, your connections are fruitful. That means they're healthy.
No.
Why are they not healthy? How is it helping if they're not healthy?
I have to be quick on my feet, and even if I'm not, I'm perceiving things opposite to how they are trained to attack me.
Well,
but it's usually nonstop attacks, and I'm not trying to be over dramatic, but it's literally everyone I meet.
Okay, have you been destroyed by that? Because how long has it been going on?
I didn't realize it probably until the last
5 years? Okay, yeah. And you're still here, and you're still in your right mind. You're still alive. You're still speaking. You're still connecting with people, and the connection is helping. So, have they really done anything? No. No, they haven't. No,
it didn't work. Yeah.
It didn't work. You're still here. You're still talking. You're still speaking, and you're in your right mind. So that has to be realized and recognized and acknowledged. It can't be ignored. It cannot be ignored. Don't ignore that. Listen, if someone was trying to kill you for 5 years and they haven't done it yet, they're pretty pathetic and pitiful. That means they don't have the power to do it. They don't have the power to do it. 5 years? 5.
Yeah.
Think about that, Empress. every day for 5 years and they still hadn't managed to do it, that means they can't. They can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. And if now with that thought in mind, Empress Sarai, who then is it really that you say is attacking you? Because if they've been trying for 5 years and can't do nothing, they don't have any power. So it can't be a government because governments are powerful. It can't be a government because we're the government and we're not trying to kill anyone. We're the real government. So whoever that is fake. They're fakes and frauds and they're trying to get your consent for that. Your connection to other people breaks their ability to try and get your consent. So stay connected. Be here, connect with Congress on Thursdays and Sundays, and then do the connections that you've been doing. Because guess what? Whatever it is that you're doing for the last 5 years, it has worked because you're still alive, you're still here. And whoever that was that's pretending to be some type of a entity is not. 5 years, a 450-year-old granny can get to somebody after 5 years if she really tried. So whoever that is not real. They're not who they're pretending to be. Those quote-unquote attacks are not attacks. They're not attacks because if they were a real attack, there would be proof. And there's no proof in what you're saying and in what you're doing and what we're seeing. 5 years, no proof that there's no proof that they're real. I'm not saying that what you're saying is not real. I'm saying that they're not real. So now you have to, now is and you don't have to, but it's a time for you to really look at that and say, well, they've been trying for 5 years and nothing's happened, so I might as well just move on with my life.
I'm taking small strides. It's just a huge organization issue that
I don't think they're huge because 5 years and they still can't do anything with you. You're still here, and you know who you are. I don't think they're huge. I think they're pretending to be huge, but I don't think they're huge. I think you're bigger than they are, and we're all bigger than they are because 5 years and they can't do anything. No, you're giving them more credit than they even earn. You're giving them more life by continuing to speak to them and about them. You're giving them the life. When you ignore them and stop speaking about them and focus on your connection with other folks and saving yourself, they're going to go away completely. And they probably keep trying to go away, but you keep speaking about them and giving them credit and saying they're doing this and they're doing that. They're not doing anything that's effective. Why? Because you're still here and it's been 5 years. If they were going to, quote unquote, poison you, they'd have done it by now. They can't do it because your life is not theirs. Your life is not theirs to take. It is yours to give, though. So all you have to do is not give it. Don't give any energy. Don't give any words, because in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with you, God, and the Word is you, God, because all matriarchs are God. So 5 years, Empress. It's been 5 years, and they haven't done a thing. You're still here, and not only that, you're a part of Congress now. You're governing the land now. which is us continuing to rise. So have they really done have they stopped you at all? No.
Islam, if I may.
Islam.
They just waiting for the next shoe to drop while distracting you with the noise of the white noise. They like, oh, we can get her distracted with this so she can't focus on the real work, because once she finished that one thing that she knows she's supposed to do, then we'll be destroyed. Like, we're melting type, the Wicked Witch from the Wizard of Oz. We all know what that story presents and represents for them. So just focus on what you have to do, and then they will melt away and they'll be all gone. But until the meantime, they just distracting you because you are that powerful. You've done some substantial work, because why else would the rock want to cry out and say, you're destroying our money system? Well, because something you're doing is clearly working. Keep doing what you got to do. Ignore them because they don't exist. Be more resolute, because see how I sometimes operate? The more that stuff happens, I'm like, I'm doing something right. I'm going to keep going in that direction.
Yeah.
Because like they say, if they're not complaining about something, that means you're not stepping on enough toes.
Right.
If you step on some toes, that means you're in the right direction. You're destroying whatever needs to be destroyed. And so if they're talking to you, be like, I'm doing it right because they're talking to me. Okay, I'm going to keep going. They keep talking to me. Oh, I'm doing it right. I'm going to keep going. So that should be the motivation. If they keep trying to so-called, get in your way, you're doing it right. Keep in that direction, because they're trying to distract you and discourage you from doing what you're supposed to do. So all that is jet propulsion fuel. Blow them up, honey. Yep. Light the fire and blow it up. That's it.
I appreciate it, and I respect everything y'all are saying. I'm just saying, like, on a practical level, like, anytime I have probably 2 months left here, and I want to be like done. Anytime I step out there, they're charging me with a bunch of outrageous crap. And then the choices are be tortured and isolated, or
they're charging you.
So I tapped.
Okay. So
and then I lost like my life's work in evidence that they were treating me with direct energy weapons, and just a substantial amount of evidence and litigation that I was moving forward with.
But you're saying practically. You said on a practical level.
Yeah.
So let me address that practical level.
I don't have anywhere to go. Is the thing.
Do you have a roof over your head right now?
For now, yes.
Okay, so then you don't need the work. That's not a worry for today. That's not a worry for today. So then you have time to demonstrate your status where having a place to go is concerned. You have time to demonstrate your status. You have time to demonstrate your status. It's not a worry today, so don't worry about it today. You're worrying about things way up a month and a half from now, when today's issue is a clear mind so that you can demonstrate, and clear energy so that you can demonstrate today. Take it one day at a time. One day at a time. One. Don't take it a month and a half at a time, because things are going to be very different a month and a half from now, I can assure you.
My last follow-up
That's practical information. That's practical. And secondly, your focus is saving yourself, not focusing on what you don't have and what you can't do. That's not the focus, because that's fraud anyway, to even think that. It's fraud to think that we're limited in what we can do and what we can say. We're still looking in a funny mirror when we talk about we can't do this and we can't do that. That's a funny mirror. So practically, from a practical perspective, when was the last time you wrote an affidavit?
I tried to start one last night in terms of addressing the mental health people for where I'm staying right now.
And let me ask you, because you said you tried last night.
Yeah.
When will you try again?
I was trying to just space out my time, because Sundays I go to try to do administrative work. I've been just getting real caught up in trying to organize or put in sequence the documents, and somehow I have like several different versions of the same documents, and I keep getting confused on which ones are which and where they go, and it's just been kind of fruitless.
Okay, have you written down where every because it's a formula, it doesn't change. Where every document should go, these are the notifications right here. These are the documents, and these are the notifications. So it's a matter of record keeping.
That's what I was doing last night. Like, I used to be really, really good at this, and that was the problem when they broke into my house and realized I wasn't that sick, or I was getting better. The go-to attack these days is to,
we're not talking about them.
Okay, but so what I have is because I think I found the folder maybe like 2 months ago, and I printed it out. I finally looked at it. Well, I've been looking at it here and there, but I actually this past week just made it a whole point to sort them all out, or try to sort them all out. And I know I have at least a fourth of them corresponding correctly, but then today.
Here's the thing, because I'm gonna shorten it. In conclusion, because see, you're spitting out all the answers. I'm just listening to what you're saying and saying, yep, that's an answer. Yep, that's an answer. Yep, that's an answer. So when you go back and listen to this, because we're going to put this on YouTube, as you know, we put all of our congresses on YouTube. Listen to what you stated. Because see, remember, you're stating things. If you state that they're alive, then you stated that. Not for our state, for your state of mind. So it's a matter of record keeping, and you stated that. It's a matter of record keeping and priorities. Record keeping and priorities, and I'm not saying that you're not doing that. In fact, I'm stating that you said that you were really good at record keeping, so you're still good at it. It's a matter of doing it. And guess what? We don't have anything else to do but govern our vast estate. So yeah, that's the priority for all of us. For all of us. Record keeping and governing our vast estate. That's the answer. So you really, it's almost like you don't have any issues that you don't already know the answer to. You said that the connection of the people, the connection with the people makes things better. That's an answer. Record keeping makes things better. That's an answer. Writing affidavits. It doesn't, everyone at some point or another will repeat an affidavit that they've already written, and they'll write it again. And when they write it that next time, it's going to be even better because they pay even closer attention to each word. So none of those actions are futile. They're all assistive.
And so she's always going to have an excuse why this shit doesn't work. Always.
So in reality,
I'm just confused about the administrative aspect of what to send, where to send it.
Okay.
Do I send everything to everyone I'm supposed to be notifying? I'm looking through it. I just never had an administrative
here's the answer.
Background like
here's
that.
The answer.
So it was more outreach.
Okay. You want to know who to notify? And this is what Congress is for. If it's the police, those actors acting as if they're police, then you will notify them that they're subjects in your office. If it's a shelter, you are to notify the subject in the office of the head of that shelter that you're the head and they are subject to you. And this is what the commands are.
So in terms of that, it's not like I send them.
Still hasn't gotten
It's not like I send them like a lien or delirium or anything, just an affidavit attached to the main bulk of things I'm sending out to the corresponding.
Everything you just named, everything you just stated.
Okay.
Send them everything.
Okay.
Because that's going to actually help you. Send them everything. I do. It's going to help you know the system. Because see, your question is now it has gotten to a systemic question. You move past anything stating that you can't do this and you can't do that because of this condition or that condition. You've moved past that, which is growth. So you've grown just in the last 10 minutes. Now you're talking about the system and who to notify. That's what's really important. And then write yourself a list of who to notify. It works like this. Subject in the office of Chief Executive Officer. That's for every demonstration. And what are you sending them? First, your first affidavit is your identity. Who are you? And then who are they? You must know those two things. Who are you and who are they? That alone is enough to demonstrate anything. Those two right there. This is who you send it to. Subject in the office of Chief Executive Officer. And who are you and who are they? Demonstration done. Because see, anything else that you talk about in your affidavit, in your identity affidavit, where you're sending delirium and you're doing these things, they already know. And Empress Sarai, I will say this, I've seen your comments on YouTube, and your comments are long comments that are very well written, well spoken, erudite, etc. So I know there's nothing wrong with your thinking. That's on the public record out there. I've commented on that several times to your comments under our videos on YouTube. So do you see what's on the screen here? Subject in the office of Chief Executive Officer. That is who you notify for everything, no matter what it is. And then there's going to be identity affidavits. That's the key right there. That's the key.
So then what comes of
Islam?
What?
I've spoken with, I had the pleasure of speaking with Empress several times over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Empress, every question.
What? Wait. Who is this?
Every question you had, you've answered. The only thing you're lacking is you're doubting yourself. You have all the answers. You have the answers to your questions because I've seen it for myself. You're just doubting yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Islam.
Yep.
Sorry, who was speaking now?
Someone that you spoke with on the phone.
Okay.
And you'll remember your phone
I'll send
call.
you an email.
All right. Okay.
Yep. Look at your emails. Look at your emails. You'll see it.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. You have a faith problem, a confidence problem, a trust issue, and the trust is not even against anyone outside of you. Your trust issue is with yourself. And so that's not a condemnation. What it is an observation, Empress Sarai, because we trust you. You don't trust you, but we do. Absolutely, we do.
Empress Light. May I make a comment?
Islam.
I had to do a demonstration here in Dallas, Texas, with a retail place that sells gasoline, and I'm having trouble after you get that lien, and you placed it on the public record. However, I have learned enough now that I was able to stand. When they blocked me from the store, and they blocked customers from the store. But eventually, I got into this gas station.
Yeah.
And I got what I wanted. The lady said she didn't want my money. It was just a drink. So I stood there and drank my drink, but I put whatever on the counter. She called the subject in the office of the police department.
Mm-hmm.
And showed up with an accent from another country, and I requested it. He said, give me his name and his nationality. And he was pointing to his badge. I said, no, not that one. I want to know, and it was like Joseph or something. And I said, I want to know your birth name.
Oh, there it is.
He said, well, are you going to answer my questions? I said, no, I'm not. But I'm commanding you to answer mine.
Yeah.
I had on my turban. I had the flag pin on. I had, I was identified.
Yes.
Anyway, after I finished my drink, I said, it was a nice drink. And I said, now I'm leaving now. My ancestor said, leave.
Mm-hmm.
So I left. I went to the car, and he was pointing out the subject in the office of the police department, pointing to the tag on my car. I have a handicapped cat tag on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I stopped. This is where I got in. I said, that license plate is liened by me, and I terminated all contracts. So no, it doesn't belong to the state anymore.
Yeah.
And I left.
Indeed.
I can't wait. Then I came back the next day. I told him I was coming. I told that clerk, come back the next day. Subject is clerk. And the guy, a different guy, a modern European, he was there. I said, are you the manager? He said, no, I'm the assistant. I said, you're the subject of the Moors. And I showed him the writing in red. And I read that first part, right?
Yeah.
And I gave him a copy of the treaty.
Yeah.
Okay? I said, this copy, I said, this is international law that you're dealing with. Okay? And I said what I needed to say, told him goodbye, have a good day, and the person standing by the door, this time was well-dressed, so-called, probably a Moor that hadn't recognized himself as there. I told him, have a good day, sir, and I left. So I went to another one, had no problem. They wasn't even going to charge me for the drink. So I just, to make sure. I said no, and I gave him a treaty. So I was doing my demonstrations.
Yes, indeed. Empress, our ancestors, their only will for us is to demonstrate our status, period. Now, the ancestors will tell each and every one of us how to do that, the best way to do that. And that is exactly what happened with you, Empress. So we honor your demonstration. We honor, and guess what? The system honored your demonstration too. The system did exactly what it was supposed to do. With fake, subjects in the office of police and all of that, they can't get past these turbans and this flag, and not only the turban and flag, but more importantly, the bloodline. They know where everything comes from. Islam. So with that being stated, are there any other questions, comments, wisdoms, testaments, anything of that nature from this Congress?
Islam,
Empress.
I was trying to get some assistance regarding the enactment of foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
It was suggested that I bring it up today.
What have we stated about that in the past? Because it's a formula. I have a couple of questions about the domicile, Empress.
Mm-hmm.
Has the domicile, or the fake, not the domicile, but the fake trust that is claiming that was previously claiming the domicile, has it been lien, levied, and bonded?
It hasn't been levy and bonded. It's been lien. I completed the levy process. I need to mail it out.
Okay, so let's take a look here at, just one moment, the word levy in Black's Law Dictionary. This is why this is so important. So let's look at lien first, and then we'll look at levy, and then we'll look at bond. Levy, we just passed the word levy, but let's look at the word lien. Here's lienor. The person having or owning a lien, one who has a right of lien upon property of another. And it's not property of another it's actually your property.
Mm-hmm.
Lienee, one whose property is subject to a lien. But let's look at the word lien from the very beginning. Here it is, lien. A charge, security, or encumbrance upon property. So you've already placed the security or the encumbrance upon the property. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just one moment. Let me pull something up here so that we can, let's show what liens do. This is what the liens that we have placed have done. All real estate closings on hold, cyber hack at nation's largest quote-unquote title company. Liens stop the movement, the commerce. That's what the lien is doing. It's stopping the commerce, but now you have to do the rest of that process. Here it says lien is a claim or charge on property for payment of some debt, obligation, or duty. They're attempting to put a lien on the property when in reality they're the debtor. That has to be made clear each and every time with every document. It says here a hold or claim. A hold, we just showed you where everything is on hold because we've put liens on everything. Hold or claim which one person has upon the property of another for some debt or charge. They're claiming that the property is theirs, but they're the debtor, so it can't be theirs. So now let's look at the word levy. This is why these processes are so important. Just one moment. Levy, a seizure. An actual making the money out of the property, the obtaining of money by seizure and sale of property. Look here, the mental act of determination by sale, of determination to sell. A levy is mental, is spiritual, it's also physical. A seizure. If someone is having a seizure, that means that something is going on that's stopping them from breathing or swallowing or movement or doing things physically. And not only is it stopping them, but it's causing them to have another reaction. The raising of the money for which an execution has been issued. So the levy raises the money that the lien imposed, but it's showing that you as the creditor, because you've levied, you've gotten your money from that property. Okay, by claiming the property and seizing it. Then what do? Now that the property is yours, you must bond the property. So let's look at what a bond is. This is the best way that we can show why we do the processes that we do. See, in the last era, the word bond was a bad word. It was bondage because it was being done by fraud. Bond creditor, a creditor whose debt is secured by a bond. And for us, we're the creditors whose credit is secured by a bond. We secure our credit that way. Let's look at bond for title. An agreement to make title in the future or an executory or incomplete sale. It is not a conveyance of legal title, but only a contract. Convey and may ripen into an equitable title upon payment of a consideration. So this is important. Bond for title is really what we're doing. It is not the title. That's why we create the title. What it is stating, though, is that the holder of the title to that property, the holder of the rightful holder of the rightful title to the rightfully stated property is the true owner. So knowing the difference in the address and how you write the address and how you state that, and the fiduciary document is going to be so important to send with each demonstration that you do regarding the property. Bond for title, that's what our bonds are doing. It's not complete yet, but it's saying there's a sale pending. And then when we show the title, that means, oh, sold, already sold. Therefore, anyone attempting to do anything with it is on hold. Not just hold, they're stopped. So the word bond, look, word bond in a statute means negotiable bonds. Ours are not negotiable unless we decide that we're negotiating. But let's look at the word bond from the beginning. Look, it is a certificate or evidence of credit for us. Credit. Evidence is a court word, Empress. It's a court word. It means that there's something being presented to the court that's showing that that is going to bolster the side. It's going to support a claim. Our bonds support our claim that it belongs to us and that rightful exchange has taken place on the public record. Rightful exchange, because there's a specie that comes with a bond. Here it says a specialty or sealed instrument and not merely a written instrument. Specialty and species is the same word. They're trying to say that species of fiat takes precedence where the property is concerned, and the lien, levy, and bond and titling of that property states the exact opposite. That true species, because it's true property, has taken the place or is in that place. So lien, levy, and bond is very important. Listen to, look, it says here, bond. It's a deed. Well, wait a minute. They have put, and this is the part that Moors were missing. I know I was missing it at one point, but I got it. Deeds were, whenever they're doing foreclosure, they're foreclosing on one of two things, or actually one of three things. They're either foreclosing on the deed, or they're foreclosing on the mortgage, or they're foreclosing where taxes are concerned. Those are the three foreclosures, but we have a fourth one. The fourth foreclosure that all of our documentation expresses is status. So no matter what type of foreclosure it is, our status is going to supersede it, but we must properly state the rest of these. And that's what the lien, the levy, and the bond and the titling process do, along with our nationality, is it properly rebuts any other deeds, because they put deeds, quote unquote, deeds of trust. They were stating deeds of trust in the last era. And the banks, not the banks, the subjects in the office of bank, a lot of times they were foreclosing on the deed when people thought it was a mortgage issue. Well, no, it wasn't a mortgage issue. It was a deed issue. And deeds have everything to do with
First Avenue, and it's been
y'all hear how raggedy it sounds? That sounds so raggedy. That's good. Weaker and weaker. So that is why these are so important. Now look here, Empress. A debt, a bond is a debt. For us, it's a credit, but there's no interest on ours. All interest is our own. It's paid. It says here, Commissioner of Internal Revenue versus H.P. Hood and Sons. It's a tax that they're trying to enforce. But you have the right species to rebut it properly. They don't own it. A deed whereby the obligor obliges himself. That's what a bond is. Obliges himself. No one else can do it. His heirs, executors, and administrators either to pay or to, even if it said pay, we have the money to pay because we have the species to pay. And who are we paying? Ourselves. That's why proper identification of the parties is so important from the beginning. A sum of money to another at a day appointed. A deed whereby an obligor obliges himself, his heirs, executors, and administrators to pay a certain sum of money to another at a day appointed. That other, there is God, the people, and the company. This, Empress, can pay God, and it will be paid to an other. We saw in the past even, and that's really what we're doing, we're paying ourselves. We saw in the past where some of the actors would put that they were titling their house to God. And we said, okay, well, if you're looking in the funny mirror, nobody can ever take the house because nobody even points to God and knows where that God that would own the house is. No one would know from the funny mirror. Now, today, we know who God is. Lien, levy, bond, title, and nationality, and then an exchange on the public record. You as fiduciary for that proper exchange. Now, Empress, the same paperwork that you filled out to get the place, that's the same paperwork that you take the time to restate. Just scan it in and restate it. Give it a title that's similar, but is your title to the paperwork that you received, and then notify. They can't get past that. There's no way for them to get past that. No way. No way. And with Moors, I've seen many, many Moors where the paperwork worked, but the Moor kept picking up the phone, calling them and talking to them. And every time you talk to them, you're treating them like they're the authority. And they would say, yep, she recognized our authority, so we're going to take that. But if you don't talk to them, you just send your word. Send your word. Lean them. Remove the CEO, quote unquote. And send your document stating that you're the CEO because you are the chief executive officer and the chief and the executive, and you're the officer for that company. for those resources. And that company they only accept gold, silver, and more sovereign dollarium because you're the chief, and that's what you said. And then you do the exchange on the public record. So, Empress, does that clarify why we do the processes that we do where foreclosures are concerned?
Yes.
Because with the actors closing out their acted banking, nobody's going to be able to pay with fiat. So everyone's going to have to state who they really are and use proper documentation to proclaim. So for those Moors who are looking at domiciles and things, not to worry, just go ahead and with your paperwork, get your paperwork ready. Doesn't matter who's there, doesn't matter how big it is, doesn't matter what it looks like, how much it costs, none of that matters. Because with them stopping those accounts, quote unquote, those enactments of accounts, the public record then is going to state who owns what, where. Yes. Empress Nevaeh says, does the proper exchange exist in sending more sovereign dollarium with the bond? Yes. Yep. Bond is insurance. It's also a bill of lading stating that that property is on the land and not lost at sea. It's a bill of lading. It's a shipping document. That's what bonds are also. But then again, everything that has to do with identity has to do with shipping. Islam, Empress.
So with all that stated, Brother Noble Howard's last strong hold, please.
Empress, we can't hear you.
Yes.
Did you mute yourself?
Can you hear me now? So, yes, the letter of credit. I have some questions concerning that one right there, because it has a number as in 202101. Would that be the number that was on the former fiction bond, Noble Howard?
Islam, that is the number on the restated birth certificate, that 202102.
Okay, and then the account number that is on the document starting with a hashtag 5007. That number comes from where?
Well, one is a routing number, because you have to have a routing number. That routing number is on the insurance bond. That is our routing number.
Okay. And so, because I noticed you also stated that you was gonna be able to pick this up at the post office location, but you also gave your routing number and account number. Is there a reason why you did both?
Sure. I mean, they're portals, they're doorways, they're economic portals. So I can give them a choice. Actually, I restructured the whole entire thing. What I put up for everybody was just like a start or the foundation of commerce, the transmitting utility. I'm using the restated birth certificate. For me, I restated to 100 million. I'm going to extract that 100 million as a creditor out of my own bond account. But also, as Sister Light mentioned, we create our own merchant cards. So I had to rewrite it, and I have rewritten it now and made some corrections.
Oh, so are you able to show that, or put it in the chat so we can look at it at our own time?
Not at this moment, but I could send it to your email, because I do have your email.
Okay, gratitude.
No problem. If I may, since I'm on, I just wanted to ask the sister, I think my brother Earl was assisting her, that Sister Rosetta. I don't know if that's Sister Rosetta, but Earl was helping her. and I wasn't there to assist her. And I just want to ask Sister Rosetta, did you send all the proper paperwork to Washington's 2 email portals?
Yeah.
Okay.
We
So,
would
yeah.
step by step.
Okay, great. So you're on the right path. Just keep going. Do the bond. Sister Light was assisting and advising to do. You got to bond them up. You have your allodial title, and you have your quit claim deed, correct?
We haven't gotten to that part yet.
Okay, yeah, it's just a few pages. Yeah, that's a very important piece. Do your quit claim deed, put on the public record, send in notification as Sister Light was advising you to do. Notify. Islam.
Islam. Okay, Earl Lloyd here. It's important that she's hearing all of this from other voices because it goes without stating that when you're involved in a process like this, the toll and the challenge to your emotional, mental, and physical state can, for some, take a very deep toll. So the need for motivation, the need for encouragement, the need for her to hear those things that Sister Light that you have mentioned to clarify this process as being real, and that one has to be steadfast, determined, irregardless, to complete this. And I think that's kind of right now the bottom line issue that at least part of it is she's going through right now.
Yeah. Islam. I want to add this, Empress Taylor L. Aisha.
Islam.
I want to ask the brother to send me that paper also to my email if he doesn't mind. Princess Anne 777 at yahoo.com. Did you hear me?
Yes, we could hear you. I believe he may have heard you, Empress.
Okay.
Listen to me, Morris, about that whole foreclosure situation. We are so far ahead of the curve on that. Why? Because next year or in the coming months, everyone is going to have to do the right thing regarding these documents. They're going to have to do what we're doing already. Why? Because you see what's happening with quote-unquote banks and banking. People are being shut out of accounts and so on and so forth. And so with that being the case, we have the answer to that process. The only thing our ancestors willed for us to do is just put a process on the public record. State a process. At least state a process. And the system will honor that process. The system will honor the process.
Islam.
Everyone is going to have to do this, just so that you're aware. Islam, nobility.
If you would, if you could emphasize and even explain or expand the value and the power of placing documents on that public record. And in that, it's not something you just cannot do. You have to, as a part of the major part of the process, you have to get it up on the public record as well.
Yes. Yes, you must. And let me say this about the public record. The public record is not what we were told it is. It is actually a bank. It's a bank. And when you notify the bank that it's been paid already, with proper species, then who's going to try and take what you have? The public record is a bank. That's why before even anyone that was previously doing business as a sheriff would do anything, they would always have paperwork that was placed on the public record first before they would go and enforce anything. It's a bank. The public record shows ownership. It shows who owns what and how much. It properly identifies all the land, all the parties, everything. That's why we didn't have any problem putting everything about us on the public record. We put it out there. We put it all out there because we realized and knew in our spirit, and the more we looked at how does the public record work. Listen, before the bank gives anyone a loan, what do they check? They check the public record to see what you have, how much you're worth, and all of that. All of that. Before anyone does anything, they check the public record. And guess what? Those that were previously acting as policy enforcers, and when they pull up behind somebody, guess what they're checking? The public record on that tag. It's not hidden information, it's public. That's why we have the authority to create our own tags, and when they're properly stated, no one can violate. Properly stated tags, no one can violate. Anything that says public cannot be violated when it's properly stated. Anything that's private can't, but certainly anything that's sovereign. And we're all free. And then there's a fourth one. So the public record is the bank. It's the bank. Guess what? Yes, Empress Taylor L put she put something in the chat. The public record also, if you put something on the public record and you didn't even run it through the quote unquote copyright process, but you just put it on the public record, that's copyrighting it. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Copyright.com is a very reasonable place. I've used it in the past, and it's very reasonable. But sometimes the deeds office give you a hard time. I know mine does, because they insist on original documents all the time, and you may have gotten something from somewhere where it just looks like a copy, because that's what it is, a copy, but they refuse to take copies.
Empress, that's because they already know who they're looking at. When you come there to try and put something on the record, they already know that you are the record.
Oh.
Then you put it on the public record, it's already copyrighted. Let me prove that to you. That the government, which is us, can copyright anything by putting it on the public record, and we don't have to go through any office. Because, see, unbeknownst to us, the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office was an enactment, an attempt at subrogation of the government's copyright office. And we're the government.
Empress Light, may I ask a question?
Just one moment, nobility. Just one moment. Let me get this out first, where Empress Aisha is concerned. Copyright.gov. And all we have to do to copyright something is notify copyright.gov that it's copyrighted. It's a portal, like it says here. All you do is send it. This is yet another way to do anything regarding titles, deeds, whatever. It's yet another way. When you put it on the public record, you can publish it anywhere, and it will be the right place because you're the government. Okay. And whatever the government says is the record is the record. This is not the same as the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office. It's not the same because that office is not a .gov office. So let's look at that one. Just a moment. This is let's see, U.S. Okay, they have it listed here as a government office, but it's only because they know we're the United States. And plus we leaned them because before this was showing as the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office was showing as a commercial office previously, but we leaned them and they had to get back where they're supposed to be, which is what it says right here at the top. United States Copyright Office, not U.S. So even the record is correcting itself even as we speak. There it is. Copyright.gov. The record is correcting itself even as we speak. But here, this is what I was wanting to show you. Notify, notify, notify. Except, of course, you spell out avenue because this is not a real address, okay? Because there are abbreviations and substitutions in it. 101 Independence Avenue, spell out south, spell out east, and spell out district for Columbia, and it will get there.
Okay. You said that has something to do with our letters not getting where they need to go when we don't go to the window and put postage on it.
Yeah, you don't have to put their postage on it. You put your postage on it because we have our own government postage.
Right, I have those.
Yeah. That is another way to copyright. You could copyright something by mailing it to yourself using the government mailing process.
Right, I've done that in the past.
Yeah. Go ahead, Empress.
Quick question about the postage.
Just one moment. Wait. Empress Taylor L was still speaking. Empress Taylor L.
I just stated that I had mailed things to myself in the past. To copyright them.
We can copyright 1,000,001 different ways. There was someone else before Empress Sarai that was going to make a statement.
That's King L, Empress Light.
King L, yes. Go ahead, King L, and then Empress Sarai as well.
Two things. Facebook is considered public record now because it's possible for them to use your post on Facebook against you in court. So you should be able to use that for yourself in court as well.
Yes.
Correct?
Anything you say can and will be used to benefit you in a proper court of law. Yes. Our word, no matter where we say it, because we're not just saying it, we're stating it.
So, okay, I'll wait.
Go ahead, Empress Taylor L, and then Empress Sarai.
We don't have. Do we have to go in their court?
No.
If they have have us on their agenda to come in.
If they have you on their agenda, but do they really have you there, Empress, or is that a corpse that they have there?
It's a corpse that they have there.
Okay. So,
but do I have to defend that corpse?
You don't defend that corpse, but you do state who you really are. You can state who that corpse is not.
Okay.
But then you must also state who you are and who owns those letters. Not the letters they create, but the letters you create.
Okay.
So our fiduciary document proves that. I would really.
Is that how you do a special appearance, then? You just answer it and send it in and you don't go in court?
Yes, Empress. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. Because the word special indicates species.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what a special appearance really is.
Okay.
Is you stating that your appellation, no matter how it's written, belongs to you because you write it. And that anything that they write belongs to them and they are to handle their own business. In other words, don't do anything because they don't exist.
Okay.
They can't do anything with their own imaginative things because it's dead. And the only thing that ever gave them life, Empress, is that we thought that they were talking to us.
Right.
But when you say special appearance, you're talking species. That means living appearance.
Okay. Thank you. I really kind of needed that question answered.
Yes, Empress, it's answered. It's answered. Or let me just ask you, is it answered?
Yes, I understand it. I just need to write up my answer to it, restate it or whatever, and send it in to them.
Yes. And listen, Empress, if I were you...
They have me scheduled for a court date on the 13th.
Okay, so this is a suggestion besides your nationality documents and things. This is your suggestion, my suggestion to you. Define the word special, define the word species, and define the words court for law. Those three terms.
Court for law.
Species and yes, you can define special, species, and sovereign.
Okay.
Or special, species, and court for law. Or court. Okay. And then precede everything with court action language.
Okay.
Okay. Because see, your species of your person, the species of your person is a living person. Your living person cannot go to a dead court.
Okay.
So you must make it clear that you know the difference between the species. We're not the same species as them. They're dead, we're alive. We're the real court.
One last comment.
Yes, Emily.
Well, I've read and I've seen on different presentations and stuff that you can take a judge's number to find out if he's sitting on the judge's bench, but he still has his law card. Because that shows that he does not have your benefit. I mean, what he's doing is really not going to benefit you. He's actually working against you.
So, Empress, here's my thoughts on that. I would, and this is just me, so some others may have something else that they want to add to that. But we have abandoned all ideas of them proving that they're judges and things of that nature, because they're not.
Okay.
For them to have a bar card, that would mean they have a title. So you're borderline on giving them a title that they don't have, and you don't want to do that.
Okay.
You want to prove that you're the justice, you're the judge, you're the real court. And how do we prove that we're the court? By doing court actions.
Okay.
By doing court actions, that's how you prove you're the court. So, sovereign, a person, body, or state in which independent and supreme authority is vested. And it's a gold coin. It says it right there on the screen. So, right. Empress, when you talk about species, You're not supposed to show up at the cemetery thinking you're going to court.
Okay.
And I would abandon anything that has to do with trying to give them a title and trying to make them prove a title and all that. No, you state who they are because you know.
Okay.
You know they're not judges. You know they don't have a valid bar card even because you didn't issue them one.
Okay.
Anything that you didn't issue, you don't recognize.
Okay. Got it.
Because we're done with the funny mirror. No, they don't have delegation of authority. We didn't give it to them. We're the court. We're sitting up here courting and doing court things.
So if I'm going to do a court case, should I do it before the 13th?
You absolutely must notify ahead of time that you're doing a special appearance. When your paperwork arrives, your special appearance is there. That's your special appearance. Because it's
then I don't have to get online and bring them in court. Is that what you're saying?
You don't have to. You can use your documents to do it.
Okay.
You must.
All right.
Because they're trying to misidentify you.
Okay.
Your person, actually, because they know who you are.
Right.
They're trying to misidentify your person. They're trying to say that the person they created, you must own it when you don't.
Okay.
They want you to pay their person as if it's your person. They want you to take care of a dead baby when you've birthed the living baby.
Okay. Should I do the lien, the levy, and the bond with the process?
For that type of thing, what you do want to do, you can do that because that's part of the formula. It shows that you're the creditor and you're the court. You could lien, levy, and bond that court, that building, that address, because it's ours.
Okay.
But
since I'm not
for what you're discussing, Empress, it's about the person. You must know, because sometimes I can hear it in the language of Moors who speak that they still don't know that all caps that they're using is not you.
Oh, I know
that.
That's yours. I know that. I know the difference. Believe me, I know the difference.
And they're not judges. So no, you don't have to show up because they're not talking to you. But you must properly identify. You must properly identify yourself and your person, and you can even state that anything they write is dead. It's the wrong species.
Mm-hmm.
Those precepts and concepts must be stated. They must be stated. Must be stated. And Empress, the sooner you get that documentation in, the better.
Okay.
With proof that you sent it or delivered it or hand delivered it or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, we always, anytime there are those attempting to misidentify the living, they're speaking from a dead place. And at this point, they're really speaking from the place, since we did away with the deadness, that's why we're not going back and forth with them about cards, bar cards, and all that. We're the law. We're standing right here. We don't have to go through all of that anymore. What we do now is state who they are. State who we are. Proper identification of the parties proves that you are a proper court, that you know the jurisdiction. Listen, we've done it. We've done it multiple times. Multiple times we've done it.
Okay.
Our ancestors mean business about us. They are very sensitive about us. And they don't, Yes, Islam.
Yes, I'm the one that's in my 70s.
Yes,
just to make note of what I did on that demonstration that I did a few days ago, I did say that I was justice. blah, 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 Bay.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And I stood, I wasn't belligerent. I'm like, just because I know that because I've done these demonstrations because they keep after me, which I don't care because I'm not afraid. So they're just wasting their time.
Yeah.
And it's like I have the authority to ask him the questions, but he doesn't have the authority to ask me questions because I'm not given permission. And I told him that.
Yes.
I told him about the liens already, and that I had already liened the county already. So no, you're not gonna make any money off of this event because I told him I'm not contracted.
Yeah.
And he did. He's like puzzled. And that's when I said, well, it was a nice drink, and I was leaving.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. You know, because they're not even a real court. That's the thing. They're not a real court. You're the real court. You proved it by your demonstrations. Lien, levy, and bond. Yes, indeed. Empress Sarai was going to make a statement earlier, and we still haven't heard from her. Empress Sarai, are you there?
Yes, it's all right. It's long because that statement kind of grew a little bit. It's still about the mail. I have issues with newer concepts or older concepts that I wasn't familiar with.
Empress, I really wish you would stop confessing all of those spells over yourself. It's just really about to, I don't get, but the spell casting that you're doing over yourself is absolutely horrifying. If I might say so myself, it's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. Please stop doing that. Thank you.
I tried to do the mailing process or grasp it. So the first question was on the no postage necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I accidentally made some and kept the no postage necessary black on like a few of those pages. Is that gonna matter?
Did you send it already?
No.
Okay, you've answered your own question. You can, if you think it's going to matter, change it and then send it. If you don't think it's going to matter or you want to see if it's going to matter, go ahead and send it as is because you're going to get the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second part was for the sender labels that are in red. I also was double checking, cross checking some videos. I don't even really remember what was what, but I added.
There she goes with that spell casting.
I put my free chosen national name on top in Capitis Diminutio Minima instead of the other one.
Islam.
Is that a big deal or?
You did it, so it's not a big deal.
Okay. So then the last part is I went to go get the postage certified mail receipts and the tracking number slips, and I've never used that particular process. Well, wait, yeah, I did. I tried to with trying to nationalize with Moorish American Consulate a long time ago, which was when they sent me in a loop for a month plan. But yeah, I just was looking at the.
They know you're already nationalized because you say you are because you're God. But okay.
So I was wondering. I just remember nothing of that process really outside of what I just spoke. But yeah, I'm looking at these numbers. Are they supposed to match the receipt and the tracking, or does that matter?
Do the demonstration. Whenever you have questions about a demonstration like that, do the demonstration, and you will know the answer from the results of your demonstration.
Okay.
Trying to have all of the answers beforehand, that's the loop you don't want to be in because you already have all the answers. You just aren't recognizing that the answers come from you. The answers don't come from outside of you. They come from within you. So whenever when in doubt, go ahead and demonstrate. And the ancestors will provide the protection that you need while you're demonstrating. Never doubt yourself because it's really coming from within you, the ancestors within you. So just go for it. Go ahead and do the demonstration. to the best of your knowledge and ability, because, see, we all are demonstrating at the level of our over and understanding. So don't try to have all the answers laid out before you in a list before you go, before you do demonstrate. Follow your spirit, because that's where the answers are coming from. Before they ever appear on paper, they're always going to be within you first. Islam. Islam.
Greetings.
Greetings, Empress.
Okay, so in the discussion, you mentioned, when you spoke about foreclosure, you mentioned towards the end, you mentioned about doing the exchanges after doing everything. Could you clarify what you mean by doing the exchange?
So doing the exchange is the same thing you did when you went to the closing, quote unquote, and you signed all the paperwork, and you really didn't even give them anything. You didn't give them anything but a signature. And maybe some people gave $5,000 as a down payment, whatever. That's the only reason the delarium even came into the process is interest. So the interest belongs to you when you use your Moorish Sovereign Delarium. So what you would do is print out the amount of Moorish Sovereign Delarium that you paid in units for that domicile. Print out that amount, autograph it, put your right red thumbprint on it, and then send it to, now hear me when I say this, because I'm going to clarify who we're really paying. If, let's just pick a company, we'll say Fannie Mae. We're going back to the address piece. Do not pay corpses. This is a corpse right here. If your quote-unquote mortgage company, if this were the name, you would not send anything to them. You would lien this one. Then the one you send it to, that where you're the chief executive officer because it's public and you're the CEO because the public is the CEO, would be this. In blue. These are two different places altogether, just so that you know. And the one at the top is not even a place. It only existed on paper. There's no such thing as juror as a place. That's not a real place. And actually what they would do is that right there. That's not a real state. Even if they spelled it out, if there are any abbreviations at all, it's not real. So what do? We put it in blue, take it out of black, put it in blue because you've liened it and now you're levying and bonding. And then you send your payment with the proper paperwork describing your address properly as well. So, for example, on mortgage paperwork, this is how they were previously putting things. And it was in black. Yeah, and they would do it like this for this domicile that I'm at right now. That's how they would put it. So when we did our liens, levies, and bonds and sent them out, we changed it and said, no, our property is on the land. It's not lost at sea. It's on the land. So or sometimes we put an E on the end because we get to describe our land. And then in blue, put it in blue. And sometimes we would put an E on the end of Washington because we know we're washing the tone of the words, because that's what all this washing tone stuff is all about. We're washing the tone of the words. That's why it's called Washington, D.C. So the tone is the color of the word. Federal Way, Washington. So whenever we said this is where our domicile is. This is the amount that we have exchanged on the public record in more sovereign dollarium and gold and silver. Okay, so to your question and to your statement regarding that, we're the heads of all mortgage companies, because the original spelling of the word mortgage was not a dead pledge. It was a living exchange. It was a living exchange. We would be the head when we send the bond to our internal revenue. Yes, indeed, yes. We're the head of the internal revenue. On our levies, we put that at the top up there. We're not the Internal Revenue Service. We're the Internal Revenue. Revenue is a court word. It means move it to the right venue. Internally, that's a species word. Hopefully that helps, Empress, with regard to what you were stating.
Oh, thank you so much, yes.
So make sure as you're doing your demonstrations regarding domiciles and things, because listen, what you're doing right now is going to help so many people next year. Mm. When the rest of the acting banks shut off their acting, they're sunsetted. That's why you're seeing what you're seeing and them do. They're sunsetting. We know that firsthand. We know that firsthand. Because I'll tell you this, our ancestors are having us demonstrate who we are regularly. This is not something we're making up. This is something we're living and demonstrating. And it works. Our documents work, our paper works, our money works, everything, it all works. Every bit of it. Our word works. All we're doing is showing that we're competent at using the system that we have set up. We get to say what happens in our system, and the subjects will do. The subject system will do what it does. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? I'm feeling in the energies that foreclosure piece. I'm feeling that from you all, that there's more than just one or two that may be looking at that. And our statement regarding that is not one of you will be moved when you know exactly who you are. And you know. Anyone attempting that is not who they say they are. And it's your job to prove it. How do you prove it? With your writings, with your words. Empress Minerva, we feel you. I can feel that. We can feel that. And it's not just you and Empress Rosetta and it's not just you all. It's others that are thinking about that process. Listen, we were called to blaze the trail. We were called to blaze the trail, all of us, so that we can help everybody else who's going to be facing that when they cut off the fiat piece altogether and they don't know which way to go. They're going to have a way to go. We're already doing it. It's already being done. It's already being done by us. Yes. And Congress, if I may call your attention to the chat, the Congress is being thanked by one of the heirs for the work. So please absorb that into your spirit. Islam. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom?
Islam?
Noble Phoenix, the document that you wanted that you willed to share. Are you there, Noble Phoenix? Let me just see.
Islam.
Islam.
He called me, I don't know, half an hour or so ago. He's off the call. He had to attend to something.
Okay. He was going to make a presentment earlier, but then the questions started coming, and to us that's fine. The questions coming from this Congress. They're necessary. If Noble Phoenix hears this, if he could get his presentment ready for the next Congress and even expand on it if he chooses to do another presentment, that would greatly assist us. It would greatly assist us. Islam. Any other questions, comments, wisdom?
Islam. About Angel had a presentation.
Empress Angel, did you have a presentment?
Thank you, Empress Rosetta. We are working on things, not as yet. Not everything is in proper as we desire it to be as yet, but in due time.
Okay. And it is our hope and will that each Congress member at some point, whether it be now, a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever, that each Congress member do a presentment. You didn't think I was going to let you get away, did you? We think it's just simply like present a document that you were inspired to write, or present a poem or whatever it is that your spirit says. We would love for each one of the Congress members to present yourself on this platform. And hopefully it will be something that we all can use. Like what Noble Phoenix presented, it was in alignment with what we're doing. And so it's so greatly appreciated that we continue the one mind working together. Not just to hear ourselves speak, but to actually assist one another. Yes, Empress Rashida says gratitude to this Congress and for the loving information shared. Indeed, Empress. And we honor and welcome all presentments and things that's in alignment with what we're doing so that we can move forward with our money system. Because I'm telling you, our ancestors have something so beautiful. I would love to share it now, but I'm not going to because I'm not being led to share it now. But this thing blows up in just a few months. It's already, and when I say blows up, I mean expand. There are some Moors out there who've been working on some things that absolutely rose in place, because you know they used to say things fell in place. Their stuff is with more sovereign dollarium and gold and silver. And I also want to thank the Moors at this territory. This past weekend, our treasury took in more species in silver than we had previously. We've taken in the gold, but we've taken in, this past weekend, we took in the most silver species that it set a record for our treasury. And for that, we're grateful. So with that being stated, if there's nothing further from this great Congress, peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Islam.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Peace and grand rising.
Peace and love. Peace and energy. Peace and energy.
Thank you, Justice Porter. Thank you for that. Islam.
Peace and energy.
Peace and energy, indeed.